So I did read all them comments. It was a lot of comments. It was like over 200 comments I had to read yesterday. So just rock with me. Put my thoughts together. And shout out to Stephanie Oakton. I did 4 videos. Where you at? Check the time, check it. And thank you for the accreditation, but I definitely did over 4 videos. My thing is, now we about to head into me addressing commenters because there's so many comments. I got to just start going through them because they are bringing up interesting points. This one is Tentacion The Manchurian Candidate. You see, that was a 1959 novel that actually came out, and it detailed how a U.S. politician's son had become the unwitting hitman for a communist party. But see, that was the catch right there. It wasn't actually for a communist party. At that time, it was propaganda to say communist, but it was really multinational corporations, if you think about it. It was a corporation type hit. They set him up to make a move to benefit how their corporation would grow. It was a good book. It was also some decent films that were involved. You know, we seen one with Denzel Washington. So when we put that into this, yes, Theo, I get where your mindset's at, but you got to understand something. The Manchurian candidates would not be Tentacion. Now, you also mentioned something about it being a clone fake. I know nothing about that. I mean, if you know more about that, you got to fill me in. I don't know how to tell the difference between some clone or the real thing, but what I can say is the Manchurian candidates would have been these 4 men. Especially Michael Boatwright, who claimed mental insanity, but then he was also involved in doing this because he took away his legality to even be involved in a situation of this nature. It's a little deeper than that. See, in the movie, if you look at the details behind it, there were multiple corporations working against the favor of this U.S. politician. This politician that his son was involved in this type of stuff, he was in a position of power to rise, and there were men and corporations that did not find it favorable for him to rise. In this situation, if you want to refer to Tentacion, I don't see what direct corporation would have benefited from him being gone. For instance, he had just signed the $10 million deal the week before. If his mother wanted him, it wouldn't have made sense for his mother to want him gone, being that she should have known starting her different charities and different, let's say, businesses on the side, she would need the funds of her son. She couldn't do it without him, honestly, because he is the prime objective of financial backing. That wouldn't have made sense. But then you're saying he's a clone? Like, I don't get where you're going with that. That doesn't make sense. But let's move into the factor of what the movie's at, because you said that direct thing. So for the movie, if you remember, even though his son was doing these things, what was the point of training behind it? Now, that's the only connection I can make right here with what you're saying. These 4 men weren't trained. There was nothing about them that was trained. They pulled up, they did what they did, but that's why I called them fall guys, because they pulled up, brainwashed, thinking that they were going to do something. And in this scenario, it was really a mastermind that was playing these guys like puppets. But now, the twist in the plot is that they're all lawyering up so late, and people are like, how are they affording these lawyers? And that would be the one thing I'm saying stands out to me. How are you affording the lawyers at this late in the game when if you had the money, you should have had them from the jump? See, that's why I really do like the fact you even mentioned a Manchurian candidate, because were they brainwashed when they did it? Now, if anyone's brainwashed, I would say definitely Michael Boatwright's brainwashed to have went ahead and claimed mental incompatibility when he had no clue what evidence was. If I didn't know what evidence they had on me, there's no way I could claim that I'm mentally unstable to stand it unless he had some deeper implication. That is why finding the weapons and all the evidence in his grandma's car has just benefited the state, because he claimed he was incapable of doing anything, standing trial, even being interrogated for the most part. But now you're doubling back and you're saying, look, now we find the evidence in your car. We're going to deny this. You're going to double back and say innocence. And then we're going to say, well, why didn't you say that up front? That is why yesterday I told you now Diedrich has a chance, because He kept his rights open. He can fight what was said in interrogation because he did not have any representation there to okay him to say or not to say certain things. This is important. People don't know their laws. People don't know how to defend that, and they know that. They know these are just dummies that committed felonies, got caught up, and now we're about to just railroad them and get money off of them for the state because they're not smart enough to stand there and fight in a capable way. That's why I truly do understand when you mention the thing. I don't know if you're sticking more to the brainwash thing or you're sticking more to the assassin side, because these guys, obviously, all of them couldn't have been shooters. We know Diedrich stuck in the car. So that's why I'm trying to understand the mentality you're fully trying to do when you're saying the clone thing. I'm not getting it. If you're saying that they were brainwashed to attack who they thought was Tentacion and that was a fake person, okay, I can get that part. But when you're just saying he was outright a clone and it just rubs me the wrong way, understanding that I read the book, I watched the movie, and yes, I'm a reading type of person. I read a lot, and that's why I'm saying I get where you're going, but you got to understand where the book starts. All these movies water down books. If you have read the first book, you understand that corporations benefited off of the situation of a politician being out the scene so they could push their agenda. Now, whose agenda would be being pushed? Who was getting taken out the scene? Like, what were they really doing? If anything, the people involved, the mastermind, if he was family, I don't see who it was. It was an act of jealousy or an act of taking a party out the scene, because there is so many, let's say, financial downsides to even Cleo being involved. You could call someone up and get anything you want. Hey, I want that Ferrari down the street. Or, hey, go up there and buy me that building real quick. That was all within our power. Someone was taking away Cleo's power. Now, if we're assuming a corporation or an entity wanted to take a shot at his mother, that would be more understanding. But I don't get what type of power she would have in a governance sense to be in anybody's way. I mean, it's too many loopholes that would have to be filled in to say that. But again, I like your thinking, and that's part of what I'm going to be doing with commenters. I also have about 4 or 5 other commenters I'm going to address that said something like that. But no, I truly get where you're headed to. It's not that I'm dumb to what you're saying. I'm just saying, before you claim something like that, you have to fill in all the gaps. All the gaps are not filled in. If we're looking at it strategically to how the movie and the essence of it all works, you have to have read the book and understood what was going on. It was a corporation and propaganda agenda. Now, I have my thoughts on that, and I'll quickly say this. If we're running with this Manchurian candidate view, if you recently seen a new European artist, Juice WRLD, came out, his style, his music is very synonymous to Tentacion. So if I'm presuming what you're saying is clarified, then I'm telling you, Theo, that I do get that point. That maybe they did not like that he was making certain choices and they wanted to replace him with a style of music that was similar, and it was waiting right till Juice WRLD was ready to premiere. And then when Juice WRLD came out, that's when Tentacion was off the scene. So now you don't have Juice WRLD and Tentacion making music. You just have Juice WRLD. Because I listened to a huge hit right now, Lucid Dreams. It is very similar to the type of music we hear from Tentacion. I mean, like, exact similar. And that's what I truly understand. And I think that's one of the most prevalent things that I could build with the Manchurian candidate viewpoint. That's the only thing I could say off the rip that I could see could be in comparison to what you're trying to say. Again, I'm not saying what you're saying is dumb. I'm saying that I read the book. I read many different things. I understand corporations. I know how these different things work. So in a business sense, that would be the only connection that you'd be able to make with the movie, being that the assassins were brainwashed. Yes, in the movie. Are you trying to say that his killers were brainwashed? I'm just trying to get to a point to help you connect the dots in what you're trying to say. So, I mean, I know in Europe it's different. I know in the UK y'all move different. I'm not really sure. That's why I respect what you're doing. I respect what you're saying. But shout to all my UK viewers and all my European viewers. I was just addressing him because I get that The Manchurian Candidate was an American novel and it was a movie. I didn't really think too many of y'all have even read something like that. That is ideology to use in situations like this to try and build a picture of what's actually being discussed. And that's part of what growth is, and that's part of what understanding is. So for a week or 2 weeks, I'm going to just be addressing comments they made. I'm going to tag your name at the end of it and let you know that I did address you, so you're able to see it, and I'm putting it out there so everyone sees it. And so they're able to formulate a point. Someone else may come out and answer the stuff I don't know about it. That's why I'm trying to put that out. But the clone thing's kind of thrown off. When you said that, I was like, what? I thought he was talking about Manchurian candidates. We're talking about brainwashing. We're talking about some type of mind control device or system that puts people out there to do certain things, but it worked into the agenda and propaganda of a party that was claimed the Communist Party in the book, in the original. But we know multinational corporations were truly involved in it because it was a corporate plot to take out a politician that thought against what they wanted to do, that had perspectives that were against theirs. So it worked for the benefit and growth of a company. That's why I say when you speak makes sense. Like, a lot of people talk and the shit's dumb, but I really like what you were saying. So I'm not really against what you're saying. I just don't understand what you're saying. So I'm going to be addressing commenters today. I think that was one of the best analogies that I've seen, but I think that you're missing some things within your analogies that would really perfect what's being done and perfect what we're saying and what we're talking about. But if we look at it that way, yes, you could say the killers were brainwashed. And yes, you can say that he was trying to be replaced by another artist that had artistry that was similar to his. Yes, I could see that. And it will work and benefit your corporation. We got more on the way. You know how I rock. TheCzarr Rights Reserved. Rocking with you.